On the eve of opening day, let's give our season prediction for the Royals.
You are Locked On Royals, your daily Kansas City Royals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are tuned into another edition of Locked On Royals and the Locked On Podcast Network. As always, I'm your host, Jack Johnson, and you can find us on wherever you get your podcast. That can be Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Google Podcast, Odyssey, and YouTube. Just be sure to hit the follow button and subscribe. And you can catch us on Twitter, which my handle is at JohnnyJ_15. That is at JOHNYJ_15. Now, today's show is brought to you by Wonderful Pistachios. And with Wonderful Pistachios, you can look for that snack that's both delicious and nutritious. Get snackin' and get crackin' with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more today. For you first-time listeners, you're going to be either heading out to Kauffman Stadium, figuring out plans for tomorrow, and what better way to gear up for opening day than catching one of our podcasts here. Whether you're listening on the way to the stadium, whether you're listening in the late hours tonight because you can't sleep, and you want to know more about this podcast, well, we bring you content 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. If we miss any of those days, we try to make them up over the weekend. But this week, won't have any issues. We'll have a recap tomorrow night after the game. And then on Friday, we will have an early edition of a Mailbag Friday. And as for myself, I'm based here in Kansas City. I work at Sports Radio 810 WHB. I do a variety of things over there. But when it comes to this podcast, when you click on this link, you know that you're going to be getting 30 straight minutes of Royals baseball. Now, I have to give a little bit of love to a few people here in doing this next segment, maybe doing the next three segments, because they weren't my picks. Usually I like to do a season prediction. I like to go through a handful of players, but I got to give it up to a comment on YouTube of asking when I was going to do these predictions. So I have to tip my cap for these three segments today. And then also Jared Perkins. He doesn't know I'm giving him this shout out, but I'm going to go off the format that he used on Twitter the other day for these first predictions, just centering around the Royals. For our second segment, we're going to be going over division picks. If you watched our AL Central preview one, I went with Detroit, but as I also said too in that prediction, I feel the American League Central is going to be decided by a game or two. Like, if Detroit wins the division, I clearly have Kansas City not far behind them. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. When you stick your neck out there to make a prediction, that is always a possibility. And in this case, I would love to be wrong. I would love for the Royals to win this division in comfortable fashion, the same way they did back in 2015. But again, I'm going to show a little bit of love to the commenter on YouTube last week for this segment idea, and then also Jared Perkins for this format for how I'm going to do the Royals predictions here. And if you want to get his content, he does awesome work. You can do it at JaredCP1 on Twitter. If you like prospect talk, if you like college baseball talk and Royals talk, he does just a phenomenal job. So let's kick things off here with where the Royals will finish in the American League Central. I know I already caught a little bit of heat for where I picked them in our AL Central preview. And it's just because I know a lot of the listeners here and the followers, you want me to be a little bit more biased. You should pick the Royals. And you know what? Unlike last year, they are a popular pick. Mark Feinstein today had the Royals as his American League Central champion and a 2 seed in the American League. In fact, my other partners here on Locked On that were the hosts for other American League Central teams, the Royals were a popular pick. So then I kind of felt like, a bit of an ass that I was the only one that didn't pick the Royals, and I was doing so to not look like that biased guy. But still, I'll stand by my pick. I'm very high on Detroit. We saw what they could do when they were healthy late in the second half, and they might have just enough to finish in first place. But I'll tell you this, I have the Royals in second place. And the reason I have them in second place is for one simple reason. You've got a generational talent that you are building around here, and there is a strong supporting cast. There is a strong enough supporting cast, in my opinion, that there isn't going to be the severe regression where you see a team win 86 games, get to the postseason, and then they bottom back out to 70 wins. Bobby Witt Jr. is going to stir the drink here. And if he can get contributions from Jonathan India, Vinny Pasquantino, even if Salvi's not the same player he was last year, feel confident about Michael Massey. I feel confident that some of their bench guys can surprise some people out there. But I have them finishing second. And I say that in finishing second because I'll go to the next part here. I have them winning 88 games. And I feel that Detroit gets to 90. I have Detroit going 90 and 72. It's one man's opinion here. And I could just as easily see the Royals being the team with 90 and Detroit with 88. I can't erase what I saw from Detroit in the second half, and they have a very good bullpen. They have a very good rotation. And offensively, they are comparable to the Royals, which is why it's a bit of a coin flip. Now, you could say this. What's the one thing Detroit has that the Royals don't? What's the one thing that the Royals have that Detroit doesn't? And that's Bobby Witt Jr., right? They have Riley Green. They have Parker Meadows. They have Spencer Torkelson when he's going well. But I'm not really going to throw Spencer Torkelson in that conversation because Riley Green, I believe, is their best position player. They've got Skubal, but it's actually very much like an eye for an eye here. Skubal is great for Detroit, but the Royals can counter with Cole Reagans. Would you say that Skubal's better than Reagans? There's a lot of people that are going to say Skubal's better than Reagans, and you wouldn't fight him on it. Same thing goes with Riley Green and Bobby Witt Jr. Not many people are going to take Riley Green. In fact, nobody would take Riley Green over Bobby Witt Jr., but he would be their counter to trying to match up with that type of talent. And Riley Green is a phenomenal player. And Bobby Witt Jr. is just better. And Skubal is a phenomenal pitcher. He is just a little bit better than Cole Reagans, but there's always that chance that Cole Reagans is better than Skubal this year. Rotation-wise, it does feel like a bit of a coin flip there. You have Skubal, you've got Flaherty, and then for the Royals, you've got Reagans and Lugo. You get to the third guy in the rotation. Is it Casey Mize? They're also going to have Reese Olson. They're going to have Jackson Jobe, the young prospect. It could be a toss-up there. It might be decided by the bullpen. And the Royals do have a higher ceiling, in my opinion, with their bullpen because Detroit just doesn't strike out a lot of guys. And I feel the Royals have added some pieces to get the swing and miss in that bullpen. But I'll have them 2 games back of Detroit. Still, 88 wins is going to be enough to get the top wild card spot, which can be very valuable for this team if they don't win the division. You don't win the division, grab that number 2 wild card spot. At worst case, you're just getting your foot in the door, get into the tournament, as they say. But I have them at 88 wins for that prediction. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong in this case. So if you're upset about it, I'm upset that I couldn't go the extra mile and be the biased guy in the AL Central Preview podcast and pick the Royals to do it and feel good about it. I was trying to come across as not too much of a homer, if you will. And now I don't want to walk it back because that episode was a few days ago. So if I said the Royals, you'd be able to easily pull from that podcast as to why I'd be lying. But I'll go with 88 wins. I'll have them second place in the Central. The MVP, don't need to debate this too much. It'll be Bobby Witt Jr. Their best pitcher, I will say it'll be Cole Reagans once again. You're just not going to fight on it too much. And I'll go exactly with the answers that Jared has here that he put on Twitter the other day. He went Bobby Witt Jr., he went Cole Reagans. However, he's got the Royals winning the Central with 91 wins, which would be quite the improvement again. I mean, you talk about the improvement they had from 23 to 24, the improvement they would be having even by 5 wins. They'd be a 90-win team. That doesn't happen many times in the Royals' existence. So to do that this year, that would be quite the accomplishment. This is where it gets a little bit more fun, and we can get into this in more of a rapid-fire mode here. But the reliever of the year, he goes with Lucas Ursig. I'm going to go with Carlos Estevez here. If Carlos Estevez can get up to that level of throwing 99, 100 again, I feel that he's going to lead the team in saves. I feel he'll get the majority of those opportunities. And for the Phillies last year, he became their guy in the back end of the bullpen. So that's the upside that you'd be dealing with. So just because Lucas Ursig was their guy last year, I feel that he's going to be the most valuable guy. He'll be that Swiss Army knife where you can put him in the 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th inning. But with Estevez, I like the save numbers to be pretty high for him if he can get that velo back up to 98, 99, 100 as he had it last year between Anaheim and the Philadelphia Phillies. The best newcomer, this is where I'm not going to disagree with Jared on it. I feel it's going to be Jonathan India. Everything said about him in camp, everything we've seen in camp has been phenomenal. And there wasn't a other guy. There wasn't going to be another pick, in my opinion, other than Carlos Estevez. But I'm going to go with Estevez for reliever of the year on the team. And then I'll go with Jonathan India. The biggest improvement, Michael Massey has been the guy that I have circled, that I felt the postseason confidence could carry into spring training, and you carry that spring training confidence into the regular season. I will go in a different direction here, though, just for the sake of having a good debate here, which is what I did on that AL Central preview episode all the way back on Monday. Michael Massey is somebody that I do believe is going to make a jump going into this year. But I'm going to go on the pitching side of things. It's Kris Bubic, in my opinion. Kris Bubic is going to really surprise a lot of people, and even those that wanted him to stick in the bullpen. Like, him as the number 4 starter, it wouldn't surprise me if you get to June or something and his ERA is under 3 and he's getting some all-star votes. Like, that's the type of ceiling I believe Kris Bubic can get to. And if it's not an offensive guy I'm picking, he's the one that I'm feeling very good about going into 2025. As for the most impactful rookie, is it going to be Jack Caglione? This is who Jared has for his pick. Jack Caglione would have the best opportunity, but what if he doesn't come up until August or September? That might not be the most impactful rookie. I'll say Jack Caglione for this answer, because I also said I feel he could be up in June, which would give him more than enough time to make a huge impact. I'll throw another one in here, though, and it's going to be Noah Cameron. I feel when Noah Cameron gets to the big leagues, his stuff is really going to play, and I can't wait to see Brian Sweeney and Zach Bove work with him in Kansas City. I'll throw him a bone and say that he'll be the most impactful rookie as an honorable mention. Still going to stick with Jack Caglione, though. Last two here, the biggest surprise and the bounce-back player. Biggest surprise, let's go with Maikel Garcia. I feel that Maikel Garcia, getting back to his roots a little bit and being more of a opposite field singles hitter than a pole power hitter, is going to get him to that 2023 level where he can hit 270, have a 330 OBP, and play great defense. That's what the Royals need out of him, whether he's at third base, second base, center field. He's their super utility guy. I will say that he's going to bounce back, and I hope he does, because he's one of my favorite guys to watch on this team, mainly due to what the upside is. The younger players are fascinating to watch, and some of these guys you just hang on to a little bit longer. So I'll say that he is the biggest surprise, and the bounce back player, maybe let's pick. I don't want to do MJ Melendez because that almost just seems too fitting for me to do. I feel I did that last year. I'm not going down that hole. Maybe let's go with Cavan Biggio. I feel Cavan Biggio will be able to stick around because he plays multiple positions. The Royals love his ability to get on base. He can draw the walk. Jared actually has him as the biggest surprise, and Hunter Harvey is his bounce-back player. But I'll at least put Biggio on my list and have him as the bounce-back player, biggest surprise being Maikel Garcia. So, thanks to Jared Perkins' segment idea here that I pulled from Twitter, I'm going with the Royals finishing in second, winning 88 games, Bobby Witt Jr. being their best player, Cole Reagan's their best pitcher, their best reliever will be Carlos Estevez, in my opinion, best newcomer, Jonathan India, biggest improvement, Kris Bubic, most impactful rookie, Jack Caglione, biggest surprise, Maikel Garcia, and bounce-back player, I will go with Cavan Biggio. All right, we're a little bit late, so let's take our first break of the show. When we come back, let's go over our division picks. We'll go to the National League first and then circle back to the American League. That's next on Locked On Royals. You are tuned into Locked On Royals and the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jack Johnson, and you can find me on Twitter or X at JohnnyJ_15. Want to give a shout out to the title sponsor today in Wonderful Pistachios. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help you keep you feeling fuller longer. So get snackin' and get crackin' with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more today. And if you're heading out to the ballpark, you want to make sure that you're going to be covered at your tailgate. And even though pistachios aren't the most popular tailgate item, they're going to keep you full. So if you're not wanting to eat too much, you're too nervous, grab a bag of those and you should be satisfied all the way up into game time. For our next segment here, we're going to go look at the entire league and give you our picks for the division. Might even go team by team here, why I have them. And we're going to begin things on the National League side. So we'll kick things off on the National League side with the National League East. Braves, Marlins, Mets, Phillies, Washington. I do feel that Juan Soto's addition to the Mets puts them over the top. Maybe not to get to the World Series. We saw the damage they did in the postseason last year, and they've got two other teams that are incredibly tough to beat on a game-by-game basis, which is the Atlanta Braves. Ronald Acuna is going to be coming back. They're healthier. Their rotation's healthier. They could win this division. In fact, I picked them last year to win the division. They just got too banged up. Philly's the reigning champs. They won 95 games. They returned a lot of their talent. They've got a great rotation. They've got a just ruthless 1 through 5. You got to go through Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner, Nick Castellanos, Bryce Harper. It's never ending, it feels like. I mean, there's just all JT Realmuto. That was the last name I was supposed to add there. Philadelphia could win this division. But you're going to have to go through Francisco Lindor, Juan Soto, and Pete Alonso back to back to back in that Mets lineup. If that rotation can stay healthy, and Edwin Diaz returns to form, and he's the lights-out elite closer with Timmy Trumpet blaring in the background, I got the Mets winning it. I got the Mets winning the National League East. Right behind them, I'll go with Philadelphia, just because Philadelphia won 95 games last year and is returning a lot. I don't see them going from 95 to 85. They might go from 95 to 90. That's second place to me. Atlanta won't be far behind them. I got them in the high 80s for win total. And then I would say Washington is a very scrappy number 4 in that division, and the Marlins are going to be one of the worst teams in all of baseball, but are building a young core down there in South Beach. Now I'm going to go over to the National League Central. Reds, Brewers, Pirates, Cardinals, Cubs. The Royals are actually going to see the Brewers next week beginning on Monday, and I want to say the Royals are their home opener, so you should expect a sold-out crowd. It's no longer Miller Park, but I'm going to call it Miller Park. So the Brewers, I've got them winning the division. They won it by 10 games last year over St. Louis. The Cardinals didn't get any better. They caught a lot of heat for how they fared in the offseason. I'll have the Cardinals finishing 4th in this division. I'll go Brewers number 1. Cincinnati's going to make some serious strides, even without Jonathan India now that he's in Kansas City. I love what their pitching department does in developing talent. They got too banged up last year. Build around Ellie De La Cruz, Spencer Steer. You have Encarnacion Strand as well over at first base. Matt McClain as well. There's a lot of young talent over there in Cincinnati. Can play well in that ballpark. We saw them surge in 2023 before bottoming out at the very end. I got the Reds finishing 2nd. I got the Cubbies in 3rd. Pirates will bottom it out in 5th. Can't wait to watch Paul Skeens pitch. I just don't believe they've got the offense to keep up with the rest of the teams in their division. So in conclusion, Brewers 1, Reds 2, Cubs 3, Cardinals 4, Pirates 5. National League West, not much debate here. I saw on ESPN of all the predictions that the experts made, this was a unanimous division where all 28, I want to say it was, picked the Dodgers. I'm not going against the Dodgers here. They should win anywhere from 105 to 110 games if they can stay healthy, which right now Mookie Betts is battling some freaky illness that has made him drop 20-ish pounds, I want to say. But I got the Dodgers winning this division. Padres, I feel, take a slight step back, which then can catapult Arizona back to number 2. I'm high on the Diamondbacks. They can go toe-to-toe with the Dodgers in the regular season. They're not going to win the division, and they're not going to get to 100 wins. I could see them giving the Dodgers fits, though, all the way until about August, and that's when the Dodgers will be able to pull away. Diamondbacks could still win 90-plus, though. In 3rd place, I will go with the Padres. 4th place, the Giants. I do like the way the Giants assembled their roster. You have Jung-Hoo Lee back. You bring over Willie Adames. You extend Matt Chapman. Lamont Wade Jr. is somebody that can really get on base at the top of the order. It's just a young rotation that needs some more seasoning. Justin Verlander's their number 2 starter. Can't wait to see how he does in the Bay Area. Rounded out, Colorado, as I said with Miami, that's also going to be one of the worst teams in Major League Baseball. To sum it up, Dodgers 1, Diamondbacks 2. I will have the Padres 3, Giants 4, and then the Colorado Rockies rounding it out with the 5th and last spot in the National League West. Now to the American League side, we'll start it off with the AL West. This is a tough division. I'm not sure where to go with the top team here. Houston is the one that always wins it. They were able to do it last year despite, not starting the season as well. You felt they might have been buried, and the Mariners absolutely collapsed. The Mariners are an 80 to 85 win team, not good enough to win the division for me. Houston, 85-ish win team as well. I want to say that Texas has a really good chance to get to 90 wins again. I love what they did with their lineup. There's a lot of heavy hitters, and if Jacob deGrom can stay healthy, that feels like the difference maker for the rotation. I'll go Texas number 1, Seattle 2, Houston 3, Angels 4, and then the Athletics. I'm going to go with the Athletics 4th here, and a very scrappy 4. They could get 75 to 77 wins, a tremendous improvement, and that's a tough ballpark to go into and maybe knock off a few games against the Athletics, because they'll be comfortable playing in that ballpark. It might be a step up for them considering nobody was showing up to the Coliseum, but I do sympathize with Athletic fans. It's unfortunate they're going to have to be playing games there and not in Oakland, and doesn't look like they're ever going to be going back to Oakland. So I do hope the best for them this year. I hope they can be very competitive in the West. Still, I like the Rangers 1, Seattle 2, Houston 3, Athletics 4, and the Angels in last place to round it out. American League East, I still have to feel confident in the Yankees despite Garrett Cole's injury. Giancarlo Stanton dealing with 2 painful elbows at this point in time. You still have Aaron Judge, Cody Bellinger, Anthony Volpe, Austin Wells, Jazz Chisholm. There's a lot of pieces, and that bullpen got better as well. Devin Williams, Luke Weaver in the back end of the bullpen. They should win the American League East. Baltimore's not going to be far behind them, in my opinion. I feel Boston could make that step over the Orioles. Could see some regression from the Orioles because I'm just not as high on the rotation. Boston, Rafi Devers. You have Alex Bregman now. They added some more power to that rotation. Bullpen is what could get in the way. It's certainly what got in the way of them last year. So for now, keep them 3rd. I will say Tampa Bay is 4th, and Toronto will round it out in last place in the American League East. And as for the Central, you kind of already heard my picks there. Detroit 1, Kansas City 2. I'll go Cleveland 3, Minnesota 4, and the White Sox to round it out with the 5th and final spot. Went a little bit long again, so let's take our final break. When we come back, I'll give you some season awards. We can go over the entire league here, who I think is going to win the MVP in both leagues, and who I think is going to win the Cy Young in both leagues. That's coming up next on Locked On Royals. You are tuned into Locked On Royals and the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jack Johnson. You can find us on wherever you get your podcast. That can be Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Google Podcast, Odyssey, and YouTube. Just be sure to hit the follow button and subscribe. 2 sponsors we want to give a shout out to, beginning with Monarch Money. Have you ever checked your bank account and wondered, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off on your first year. Again, that code is LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com. Again, monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off on your first year. Also want to tell you about Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades. That's Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need, delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Please use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. To wrap up the final episode of the offseason, can't believe I can actually say that with opening day just hours away now, though it's 11 o'clock as I'm wrapping this up. So we're roughly, what would that be? I'm terrible at math. More than a couple of hours, but if you are a diehard baseball fan, you just like to say it's a couple hours away. But Royals Guardians tomorrow at Kauffman Stadium, 3:10 first pitch, Cole Reagans versus Tanner Bybee. To wrap up the show, though, want to give out some season awards, and maybe I'll throw in some, team leaders for the Royals in multiple categories. Some won't be too surprising to you. Maybe some will, but we'll make it, pretty quick there at the end. As for who I think is going to win the MVP on both sides, I got Bobby Witt Jr. winning it on the American League side. He was due to win it last year. The season he put together, it was only going to take a Barry Bonds-esque type season to get it done, and that's how Aaron Judge did. That was the only way that Bobby Witt Jr. was going to lose out to Aaron Judge, if he put together the single greatest offensive season since Barry Bonds. I don't see that happening again for Aaron Judge. I imagine he'll be very good. I imagine he'll be one of the biggest offensive threats in the game. But Bobby Witt Jr. just has this feel of being the generational talent that he is, but taking it another step forward. Where even last year, to hit 330, lead the league in hits, and there was a slump period that he had. It won't shock me at all if he hits 350 this year, has the highest average of anybody out there. I believe we are due for a truly extraordinary single season from Bobby Witt Jr. that will result in an MVP. He might be able to top what he did last year, which is absurd considering it was one of the greatest seasons of all time. He's just that guy, though, where you expect better each and every year. I'm not going to debate it too much. I feel Bobby Witt Jr. does win the MVP. Aaron Judge, I want to say I misspoke last week or something with it, saying he won back-to-back. He's won 2 out of the last 3 MVPs. 3 out of 4 would be very hard to do. With Bobby Witt Jr. searching for number 1, I'd imagine he gets it this year. Number 2, how can I go against Shohei Ohtani? Shohei Ohtani is in a league of his own. Truly. I mean, Bobby Witt Jr. is the 5-tool player. He is the generational talent. Bobby Witt Jr. doesn't pitch, though. And I'm not saying that's going to factor into my choice here, but Shohei Ohtani is just a freak. And every time he's out there, I know he's playing for the Dodgers, and that annoys people now instead of when he was in Anaheim with the Angels, and they weren't that good at all. And everything worked out in year 1 for him. He got paid, although it was deferred, and a lot of the money is going to be coming at the end of his career. But he made a lot in endorsements. They won the World Series. He was a phenomenal player. It's Ohtani or Juan Soto for me. Maybe even Francisco Lindor, to be honest with you, could be a dark horse candidate. I'm just not going away from Shohei Ohtani, which is funny because I just said, it's unlikely Judge can win 3 of 4 when Ohtani just keeps racking it up over and over and over again. I'm just not going to go against him. I'm really not. We are watching one of the greatest talents in sports history with Shohei Ohtani. He's just a freak. He's a joy to watch, and I, for one, feel very fortunate that I live in the same time period to watch Shohei Ohtani play baseball. He's my National League MVP. As for Cy Young winners, on the American League side, I do think there's a chance that Cole Reagans makes a strong push for it. Scooble can do it again. So tough. It's really, really tough. I'm going to go with somebody from Seattle here. Dare I say Logan Gilbert? Feel Logan Gilbert can win the Cy Young. Scooble can as well, and if Scooble's on, he's going to be the betting favorite throughout the season. I just want to shake it up a little bit. I don't want to be too chalky with my picks. In Seattle, they're a pitching factory. Their entire rotation is legit. I'll go with Logan Gilbert as the American League Cy Young. For National League Cy Young, Paul Skeens. I just said I'm not going chalk, but I'm going to go chalk there. Paul Skeens is just a ridiculous talent. He almost feels spectacle-wise like what it was with Zach Greinke for the Royals back there in 2009. Like, you are watching the Royals for Zach Greinke. For Pirates fans, you're watching the Pirates for Paul Skeens. I know they have more talent. I know they have Jared Jones, who I want to say is battling an injury or something like that. You have O'Neal Cruz. There are young pieces to like there. None bigger than Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens is a national phenomenon. Hell, he started for the National League in the All-Star game last year. I'm going to fall in line with what everybody's saying and pick Paul Skeens to be my National League Cy Young winner. So I got Skeens, I got Gilbert, MVPs, I got Bobby Witt and Ohtani. Real quickly, before we wrap it up and send you off into the regular season, my home run leader for the Royals, I'm going to go with Bobby Witt Jr. As I said, a step up, just doing a little bit more. Believe he gets back into the 30s, and that's going to be enough to lead the team. RBI leader, I'll go Vinny Pasquantino. A full season from him, fingers crossed. I believe he's going to have the most opportunities to drive in runs. Batting average leader, Bobby Witt Jr. On base leader, it would still be Bobby Witt Jr. in my opinion. I'll throw second place in there, Jonathan India. Saves leader, I'll go Carlos Estevez. Wins leader in the rotation, I'll go Cole Reagans this time. I feel Cole Reagans will lead the team in wins. Innings pitched, also I will go with Cole Reagans there, just because I do expect some slight regression there from Lugo and Waka. What else am I missing here? Let's see. Home run leader, RBI leader, wins leader, ERA leader. Maybe because of inning workload. And we'll go for starters here. Let's not pick relievers for this. For the relievers, I'll say Lucas Ursig. And then for the starters, dare I say Chris Bubich, because I don't believe he's going to work over 200 innings, not come close to it. He might get in the 140 range, and the less innings he's out there, maybe the better chance he has to finish the year with a 2.75, 2.8 ERA with 140 innings. Tougher to do a 2.5 ERA season when you're throwing 200 to 220 innings. That'll be my ERA leader for a little bit of a hot take. Rolling into tomorrow, which is opening day between the Royals and the Guardians. That's going to do it for another edition of Locked On Royals and the Locked On Podcast Network. I've been your host, Jack Johnson. Thank you for making Locked On Royals your first listen today. For your second, check out Locked On Fantasy Baseball Podcast with hosts Dominic Martino and Matthew Ane. MLB Fantasy Draft season is here. Be the most informed fan and set yourself up for a league win. Find Locked On Podcast on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. Tomorrow, enjoy the regular season, fans, and we'll have a full recap of it after the game. I don't know what we're going to be talking about, but hopefully we'll be talking about a Royals win. Until then, you take it easy, Kansas City.